Right. So let's talk about how much this van has cost me. So when I originally purchased this van, it was second hand, it wasn't a brand new van. And it had a few bits what come with it, and there was a few issues with it, should I say. So when I went down to see this van, I managed to play about with the price a bit with some of the stuff what was missing on it, something what had been done with it, and a few other bits and that. So long story short, I'll tell you how much you pay for the van, I'll tell you what bits come with it, and prices of what the components are worth. Obviously these prices probably go up a bit, down a bit, you know what I mean? So don't pull me on the prices, they're not exact to the pence. So when I first got this van, I paid £34,000 for it. Now, at the time, vans, the price of vans and that, was going through the roof. It was ridiculous. And this one caught me eye, the colour of it obviously, and also because of the bits it had on it as well, which came included as part of the package. And I think these were like solar panels. So this van come with two 175 watt Victron panels. They've been moved about now and I've changed the layout on top of the van, which you've seen in previous videos. They're about 150 quid each roughly. Then the Victron kit what came with the van, now bear in mind it wasn't wired in, it was on a board, and that came in with the Lynx powering system, Lynx Smart BMS, we had Lynx Distributor 1000, which is 200 quid. The Smart BMS is quite expensive actually. That was the one thing in this build which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing as well, because it's a good Smart BMS system, right, for the Victron setup, but the bad thing is you can only use it with Victron batteries, so there's a big cost in that, because you can't use any lithium batteries on it, you see, it has to be the Victron stuff. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but my understanding is that's what you've got to use it with. So rather than having like a normal BMS system, do another system where you can use separate stuff, but I didn't see the point in not using an £850 BMS what's come with the van, so that stuck with it. Turbo GX, which is your brains of it, which is a little touchscreen, that's a 50 model I've got in this van. They're 400 quid. Then you got the Orion Smart Charger, which is like your DC to DC charger. That was a 1230, that's 200 quid. And then we had the Smart Solar Charge Controller, the MPPT 30 amp jobber, and that coming at 240 quid. So there's quite a few bits what come with it, which I think in total it worked out that roughly 2,330 quid, and that's just on Victron stuff. So pretty much just short of £2.5 grand, you know, included on top of the sale of the van, which, you know, was quite a bonus in that. But that wasn't all what come with the van. The van also had the Black Rhino alloys and tyres, the BFG Goodrich tyres, which was an absolute bonus. I mean, I love these tyres, I think they look smart on the vans and that gives it that rugged look and stuff. The alloys, I probably wouldn't have chose those ones. Don't get me wrong, they're nice, but I wouldn't have chose those ones. I'd have probably gone for the Warlords or something, but they come in the van, so happy days. I mean, the wheels come in at, for set of 4, it's like 1,732, and that's with tyres, so that, you know, it's a big chunk of money that, which is saved as well with purchasing the van. Then we had the sidebars. Granted, they were manky and needed a lot of work doing on them, but we whipped them off. They've been tied up. They're about 160 quid. Also as well, with this van, it came with 2 double seats. Now, as you saw in my previous videos, it tried to do some sort of conversion on, and a lot of it I had to undo and redo again, and there's some things which, you know, saved me a bit of work and that to do it, so, you know, it was a bonus, but it did come with 2 sets of seats, 2 double seats, and the ones installed in the van were fixed. So what I decided to do was put the flip down one in the front, and then the back one I was going to use for the conversion, but then I changed my mind, so I ended up selling that seat. Got about 100 quid for that seat, so that was £100 to the build, like on that one. It also come with the rear wheel carrier. Now this was a Williams one, and don't get me wrong, it's a nice wheel carrier and it does its job basically, but that needed tightening up as well. That was rusted, it weren't fitted very well, so that had to be whipped off, so that is another £200 saving. So there's quite a good amount of stuff or equipment what came with the van. I mean, there was some Chinese fans in the roof, and to be honest with you, they were shocking. So they got ripped out. There's quite a lot of bits I chucked away, which was no good to me. It was rubbish. And it also came with like a pile of plywood as well, which was an absolute bonus on that one. And, which was another little Brucey bonus, when I went to pick the van up, he had the 2 rear Evo lockers, the roof mounted ones. Now, this kind of like pushed me in the direction of the layout of the van I wanted, just because of those 2 units really, and it was like the design 2 which went with Evo, which is why I did it, which basically set the theme for the van then. So, as you saw through my previous videos, you'll see me stripping it out, taking stuff back to basics, and then just redoing everything, reupholstering stuff. And some of the purchases I made for this build, which is probably what you want to know, and this list shocked me because I don't think you realise the amount of stuff you actually pick up along the way when you're doing conversion, and they all mount up. It's little bits, like 20 quid here, £10 there. So I'll start off the Max fan. That was a 350 by 350 Max fan. It was a deal on Facebook Marketplace, and I ended up getting that at, I think it was £290, quite cheap. Then we went down for the R&J swivels. So we had the double swivel, which they're the only place at the minute who's doing them, and I went for the single swivel as well for the driver's seat, and that come in at 820 quid. Then the Victron system was missing some components, and they were quite big components what were missing. And the first one we're missing from that, which was the most costliest one, was, I won't say it was the most costly, but that was the inverter. For that system what set up there, I spoke to Energy Monkey, a company who actually supplied the bits for this system, and they advised me on the inverter to use. So it's quite a beefy invert, like, and it runs quite a lot of the 250 stuff in the van, which is absolute bonus. But that was 965 quid. Then there was the battery. Now, as I mentioned before, that I had to stick to the lithium Victron battery. I went for the 200 amp hour battery, which I thought would be quite ample in this van, and I'll see how I go. And if I needed to expand it, I have options to expand it. That came in at 13,500 quid, which is a lot just for a battery. And trying to explain that to a missus, that you need a battery and it's going to cost like best part of like £1.5. You can imagine how that conversation went down. So battery was purchased. Then you've got like the lighting systems as well. I mean, I know a lot of these cupboards here now, they've got lights built into it. That was part of the Evo kit. But the roof lights, I mean, I think they were like 27 quid for the roof lights. And then you've got like little LED strips what you stick up in cupboards and stuff. I mean, I've still got a few more to put in yet, which, the bill's not finished yet with that. But you're talking like probably 30-40 quid in lights. Then you've got cables and sockets. So it's like you would not believe how many meters of cable actually run around this van. And I bought what I thought I'd needed, rough measurements and that, and then I ended up like basically doubling what I'd actually ordered. So like Amazon was coming every other day with like rolls of cables, and they're not cheap. I mean, the Victron system cables, wow, we're talking the chunky stuff, top dollar. I mean, cable and trunking just on the Victron system and all the little peripheral bits and that what come with it, you're talking best part of 200 quid just on the cabling stuff and stuff what you don't see. I mean, the trunking you do see, the trunking was a bit of a pain to get because I wanted the Victron blue stuff and nobody would sell it in like a 2-3 metre section. It was all like, you had to buy 20 metres. I don't need 20 metres, I just want 3. Can I come and pick it up? No, you can't pick it up. It's like, oh. So that was another story anyway. So then we went to the big stuff then. So I wanted the Truma boiler. Seen a lot of reviews on it, but I wanted the diesel electric one because as you notice this van, there's no gas in this van at all. I didn't want anything along the lines of that. And I had a diesel in my previous vans and they were brilliant. So this one I went for diesel electric. And the reason why I went for the DE4 was the DE6 is a bigger unit, more powerful unit. I didn't think you'd really need it in this van, and having this system in now, I don't. The D4E is brilliant for that. And basically, I can run on hookup the Truma on electric from hookup. I can run the Truma on electric from the inverter if I want to. And I can run it on diesel, or I can do a boost mode and run them on both. It's absolutely brilliant. Give me loads of options, and it was fantastic. So that's why I went for Truma. 1,800 quid, big cost again. So with the Truma then, you've got all the plumbing, which is like I've used red and blue pipe, the wasp pipe, the 10mm John Guest stuff. Or is it 12mm, 10mm? Well, you get the gist of it anyway. And the John Guest bits, wow, they are not cheap. I think for the little tiny pieces, like £1.50 for an elbow or a double joint, or a one-way valve was like £3.50. A stop cock was like 4.5 quid, 5 quid, and you'd be surprised how many joints or how many little bits you needed just for that. And they'd mounted up the John Guest stuff. That was quite expensive. That I would say the John Guest bits on their own 50 quid. I'm probably shortchanging myself there as well. It's probably more. Then you've got for the rest of the water system, shore floor. That was 60 quid for the pump. Then the accumulator, what goes with the pump to keep the pressure for the van and that was another 26 quid. I just spoke about the water pipes, which I said, I mean, that was 30 quid on top of the John Guest bits. So I actually missed that out on that one. Then because this van came with a wheel carrier and it was took off, I had no spare wheel. The spare wheel was underneath the van. It was like a dodgy VW crafted steely one, just a standard wheel. So I had to fork out for another alloy, which is basically just a display unit. And best I could find at the time was an extra display model with the same tyre as the van, and that cost me 433 quid. It needed to be done. The van didn't look finished without the wheel, so I had to buy the wheel on it. Then with this Evo 2 design setup, the original kitchen unit I ordered was the standard low down one. Now the fridge I had from my old van didn't fit this unit, so I went back to Evo and said, like, listen, can you change the design of it? Can we do this? They said, no, you can't do it. At the time, they didn't do custom bills for that, so they pointed me in the direction of the V8 kitchen unit, which is it's got a taller fridge in it. So if you look at my fridge on that, I've got the full length Thetford fridge on that one, and basically it's a cracking fridge, don't get me wrong, but it's expensive. The fridge on its own, I can buy an American fridge freezer cheaper than what it's costing for a tiny thing like that. Basically the fridge come in at $8.50. So the camping bits, they've got you by nuts with these. $8.50. Do you know what I mean? As I'm talking about the Evo units now, right, as I said before, I had the 2 rear units, which is like the back wall ones, which came with the van, albeit flat packed. I went then for the Design 2 thing, so I was pricing all the Design 2 up, and there's like the overhead lockers, the cable runs, the extra units, the shower, just it mounted up and mounted up and mounted up. So I was trying to piece together what bits I needed in that, and my cost for the Evo kit, which I ordered, came to £4,251, which is quite a big chunk of money again, going out for the van build and that. But I knew once I got the Evo units, then I had pretty much the basics built of a van, and I also changed the bed area because I wanted a flip up bed, just so I could get, if I could bring bikes in or whatever, you know what I mean, I can get a bike in, I can just lift the bed up and that, and it worked for me. I've used it differently to how it was designed, which the trim and everything was supposed to go under that, but I changed the trim, and the trim goes under my seat now, which I'm sat on, and it gave me access to that, but it also gave me that extra storage in the back as well, which was an absolute bonus, because in a van build, storage is key. You need the storage on that for that. Flooring. So, flooring, right, we just had our flooring done in the house, and we had a lot of spare slats, you know, the vinyl LVT stuff, and I was going to use those for the van, and I had enough just, you know, to do the van, and it would have been nice. But when I suggested the idea to my missus, she was like, no. I was like, what do you mean, no? She was like, no, we need them for spares in case they get damaged in the house and that. So, okay, the odds of the floor would be damaged. I mean, you're talking about 1 or 2 tiles. I said, I'll keep a couple of tiles spare, and she was adamant she need to keep all these spares, so we've got a stack of tiles in the garage now, which not really used. So I had to go to B&Q and have a look to see what type of flooring, and I didn't want to go the the rollout vinyl stuff. I didn't want to do that because it gets damaged quite easy. I mean, I've got kids, dog and that, and it's only takes one scratch or a scuff and it's ripped the floor in it. So I wanted like an LVT style tile, but I didn't want to pay the premium for LVT. And B&Q did these floor tiles, and I think they came in at, I think it was like £40 for 5 boxes, and there wasn't much colour choice, to be fair, but it was like a nice woody rustic effect, so I was happy with that. So £40 for flooring weren't bad. It helped me to then progress the build, because once the flooring's down, then you can start building all units and stuff on top of it and that. For the outside of the van, I looked at the awning ideas. Now this got me a little bit here now, because I wasn't too sure whether an F45, Fiamma, a Thule, and there was loads of different models, and it was like daunting me. I was like, which one do you pick? You know what I mean? So when I went to the festivals and the shows and stuff like that, I always check what awnings people had and that, which looked better and which didn't. And the Thule ones looked better, to be fair. But at the time when I was ordering it for my van, there was no stock for the Thules. The only stock I could get, which was the next model which would fit this van, was the Fiamma F80S. So I went down that route. I bought the Fiamma. Then I found out that you had to have the brackets for it, which was separate. They were another 250 quid for the brackets. I think the awning and the brackets all in total came to, I think it was 1240 quid. So it's another big chunk there just for an awning, you know, for the side of the van. And I'm sure they do them on houses cheaper than that. Again, camping premium. Taps and sinks for the unit. So I went to Amazon and bought the pull-out tap, hot and cold on it. It served well, and it was black as well, so it fit with the theme of the van. And the sink I actually got with Evo, which is an undermount sink, which came with my bamboo worktops. So they were like slightly extra for the bamboo worktop, which is the same as this table really, but this table was from IKEA. I think this was 50 quid. The shower head. So the shower piece, that was another Amazon buy again, black. Went for that one, and I think the shower head and the fixings, the easy fix to make it a lot easier to do, even though my video showed me it wasn't that easy. That came to £89. You can see these little purchases now are mounting up, and they're all like big items what you need, but there's also some small items which are costing you. The toilet, Thetford C402 I think it was, which is the one which actually fits in the design I needed for the shower, and it was basically sealed in and that, and you can't, it's a toilet, it flushes, you eat and you poo in it. What more can you say about a toilet? That was 400 quid. Then went to the seat base. Now the seating, which I touched on before, I actually changed that design halfway through what I was going to do, which was the fixed double, because of the seat belt issue, and it meant, you know, welding a new mounting point, and another story that one. So I went for the Evo seat base, and there was a company called, I think it's Camper Van Interiors or Caravan Interiors, and they sold the actual metal frame, which I did a video on, which is basically the seatbelt assembly, which basically ties up to the bottom of the van, drills through the floor, and it's clamped up underneath, and it gives me then a rigid frame with 2 functioning safety seatbelts on it. So the seat base for that was 595 quid. The next purchase then was, before the units could go in, was the water tanks. Now in my van, what I've done is I've gone for, I think it was 100 litres or 110 litres overarch tank. So the way the unit's designed, it's got like a large water tank which sits close to the edge of the van, just above the wheel arch, and it's internal. And the reason why I went for internal on that one was to keep it pretty much frost free as such, you know, so it's not going to freeze the tank, you know, in winter and stuff. Like if you go camping in winter and stuff, and your water pipes and everything freeze up. Whereas I tried to keep everything internal as much as I could to try and avoid that. The waste tank, which I put on hold because I've not bought it yet, so everything's plumbed out. I've got the pipework and everything done at the van. It's just going to ground really. I have a little waste tub bit to chuck under, you know, for catching any rubbish and stuff like that. But to be fair, it kind of like slipped off the list really, and it's one of them jobs I need to do. The water tank prices, man, they charge a fortune for water tanks. The fresh water tank I've got, that came in at £330. £330 for a plastic water tank. I was shocked at the price of these things, me really. So then with the water tank, because I wanted to, because it was fixed in between inside my units, and you couldn't get regular access to it, I needed to know the fill level from it. So I went for a basic slider system there, which goes in the tank, and it sends a signal into my turbo unit GX, and that tells me how much water's in that tank, and it's also a live feed as well, so it tells me when I'm filling it up, and all the drain bits and everything are all plumbed into it. But like I said, I'm not going to waste one yet, so I'm looking probably another 200 quid for a waste tank. So it is a job I'm going to get round to doing. Then there's a carpeting. So all the van, I didn't want to go down the cladding route to the van. I didn't want to add tons and tons of weight, and a lot of the van's covered up with this design too, how I've done it. So basically I just carpeted, all the insulation was done, everything, just carpeted over everything in the back. So the whole one side is carpeted, back doors, other doors all carpeted. Now the carpet I paid in total, I think I got 12 metres. I mean, I might be wrong on that one, but I'm sure it was about 12 metres of carpet. That cost me 78 quid for 4-way stretch carpet, and that was on Amazon, so that wasn't a bad deal. Then I bought the RC fabric stuff, which is the stuff you see on my roof. And obviously these pillars are all made out of, and you'll probably know why in a minute, why I've got the pillars done out of it. So all the door panels got done, the back, the rear, the roof and everything. And for some unknown reason, right, I over-ordered it, and I ordered 12 metres of that as well. So I have a massive roll left with probably 4 or 5 metres left of this stuff. It's everywhere. So at the minute, I'm making pillars out of it, trying to get my money's worth out of it on that one. We've even got the seats all done in the same fabric, but anyway, it's another story. But that cost me 349 quid, so I probably could have saved quite a bit on that. You learn by mistakes. And to put the carpet on, and the material is the spray adhesive stuff. Now that's not cheap really, considering how much you use. Yeah, granted it's 70 quid I paid for that, but I tell you what, that's a lot of money, and I did get my money's worth out of it, because when I was spraying the 2 walls up, I was high as a kite for about 2 days while I was doing it. So there's some stuff, good stuff comes out of it, like. But then there was the table leg. So the table leg, this table I've got now, I'm not 100% happy with it now. I don't think the table is where it is. I'm wondering whether I'm raising the floor up or not, but that's probably a future modification. But the table leg cost me 160 quid, just the table leg on that one was just quite expensive really. Then once all the framework and everything was done in the van and everything was fitted in, it was a case of sorting the front seats out, sorting this rear seat out, and the mattress. Now I went to a local company near me and spoke to them about it, and they said, yeah, we can do your mattress and we can also do your upholstery, your seats as well, which I thought win-win, bonus, I'll get it all done. So I had the mattress made at the back, but because I've got the lift in bed, I went for a concertina mattress, or however you want to call it, where basically the mattress folds up and then I can fold the bed up, so it's not rolling my mattress or squeezing it together. It folds up into pieces, and then the bed can lift up with that, which that was perfect what I needed. And then the seats, these rear ones, so this had to have a new forming, because basically these seat boxes don't come with anything, so you have to have a foam base made, then a top piece made and shaped round, and then I basically picked out what materials I was going to use, which is a faux leather and the RC fabric, you know, for the seat bits here, and the Lion logo as well. Now the rear seats, they cost me, for the foam and the material and everything else, that was £492 this section. I mean, prices probably go up and down at the minute. Then the front seats, they were done, so the drivers and the double, they're coming at 650 quid for the same, with the logos and everything on that. So the seats on their own quite expensive and reupholstered. It was probably a job I wasn't going to get it done so soon. I was probably just going to wait a few months and then, you know, to save a bit more money up on that and get the seats done. But I got glue on the front seats and they looked a mess, and it was probably a good reason to get them done really. I think the missus thinks I was doing it on purpose, and I wasn't. I generally got crap all over the seats and couldn't get it off. So that was pretty much the seats really, to get those done. So that's pretty much where that build's come into. So you can see a lot of the cost, what's going on, just the little bits and stuff like that. And I've not put a price on my labour. And bearing in mind, some days was in the van 12 hours just doing bits, routing stuff, fixing stuff, building stuff and that. So there's a hell of a lot of man hours go into a build. and I'm not experiencing this at all. I mean, this is probably the first big build I've ever done on a van, so to me it was a massive learning curve, and it was a good experience as well because I've picked a lot of things up along the way with regards to electrics, plumbing, and just a general build of the van. There's a lot of things I'd change on the van, but I think if I did it again, I'd be in a better standing because I'd know what I want to do next time. I'd know what I was up against with this van, and I would do it differently. I just thought it'd give you an understanding of what it's actually costing. Now, don't get me wrong, this I would say is borderline budget build, mid build. I mean, there's some premium parts used in the van, but there's also some like not so premium stuff. I mean, you see a lot of the big builders and that their quality and the workmanship's outstanding, and I don't even come close to those levels. You know, some of the vans what's being produced at the minute are stunning, but I'm happy the way I've done it, and I think, you know, it suits me for what I need it to do, and the layout, I like the look of it, and I think everything's all come together, you know, with it well. So the total van bill came to 50,570 quid. So I don't think that is too bad. It's a lot, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's too bad considering the price of vans on the market today which have been converted. Now, I can appreciate why a lot of converters and that are charging the money they do for the vans. Not all of them, but majority of them, because there's a lot of hard work and effort goes into it. But I think if you're going to do it yourself, if you're capable and you want the experience and you want to do something like this and the enjoyment out of it, just go and do it, get it done. But be aware that this stuff mounts up, and I've not got a bottomless money pit, far from it. All the money I used in this build came from selling my other two vans. So I had the T5, sold that, pulled the money out of that, what I made on that, and then put it into the next van, which was the Transit Custom MSRT. Converted that one, that was basic conversion. Sold that van, made some money on that van, and then used all the money I used from that, put it all into this van. And I originally budgeted for 10 grand to do this conversion, and I went over by a lot. But you get the gist of it anyway. Set yourself a strict budget and try and keep to it, but there's always more stuff to buy for the van. There's loads more stuff. So there you have it. That's how much this van and the build cost me, and I saved money on that as well with some parts what come with the van. Right, I'll see you on the next one and see what we do next time. There it is.